And I've been around for about a month. I just haven't done this intro, so forgive me. So farmer community is like a social network for farmers, but with a purpose. It's where experienced growers share tips with newcomers and where questions get real answers and where the latest research reaches the people who need it the most. So we're especially focused on supporting women and young farmers who are sometimes overlooked. We work with the top agriculture universities like Guelph and research organizations to bring their discoveries directly to farmers' mobile phones. So the idea is no more waiting for knowledge to trickle down, and our goal is to make it accessible right away. I'll put some of my details in the chat if you want to reach out and connect. That'd be great. Thanks for the time, Bridget.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us and introducing yourself, Laura. And yeah, definitely put your information in the chat so folks can connect with you. Is there anyone else that hasn't had the opportunity to introduce themselves? It doesn't matter if this is not your first meeting and you've been here for a while, you're still more than welcome to join and say hello. All right, seeing none, I'll move on to our presentation for today. So today's presentation is actually from me. It's going to be just a little bit of an update on some of the past events that we've had, as well as we look forward to planning for the future for both the Agrobotics Steering Committee as well as the Innovation Farms team. Just kind of throwing out some ideas and some things for future years. Also, as was mentioned last week, I'll be going on mat leave in November. So there is a posting up for my role at the moment, but to make sure that that person and the team has as much support as possible, Joe, Chuck, myself, and other leaders at Western Fair are putting together kind of a little bit more of a blueprint for that person. So that's also where some of this is coming from, is to make sure that they have the information that they need to get us in a good spot for next summer. So I'm just going to pull up my slides here. All right, can everybody see the presentation on screen?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh my goodness, what is that? Oh, stop sharing. Just kidding.
I've got nothing exciting except a picture of my kids, so I wasn't too worried.
Yeah. You're getting better. We're seeing it there. Oh,
There we go.
nope.
Okay,
Now we're seeing the agenda. Now we see the presentation.
perfect. Okay, sorry about that. Everybody's good. You can see the Innovation Farms and the annual report.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. As I do the discussion, I can't see the chat in this view at the moment. So we may have to pull that and see if we can pull this down for a second. Okay, here we go. All right, so Innovation Farms Ontario and the Agrobotics Working Group. For those of you that are not aware, we have two projects that are funded by two different funders, but are very collaborative and have a lot of overlap in terms of the deliverables that we achieve with them. So the Innovation Farms Ontario Network is the network of Canadian demonstration farms across Canada. It is funded by FCC's Ag Expert. And so farms such as Chuck's farm at Haggerty Creek, as well as other farms in both Ontario as well as across the country, are really there to establish this network so that if a company, a new robotics company or an ag tech company wants to go and actually trial things out in the field, they have the ability to have a connection of farmer network to help them out with that. And the other part of it is that as there are more technologies that are coming into the ecosystem, having the ability to connect multiple different types of robotic systems or similar tracking across sites in different geographic areas. So one of the things that all the sites through the Innovation Farms Network are using is we all have Ag Expert as the platform that the data is being input into, which sometimes can be a lot of work. We have a summer student who you guys had heard a presentation from a few weeks ago that is inputting data across all the robotic sites that Haggerty is working with. But that doesn't mean that every single one of those robotic systems is using the same platform. So that's why Chuck's team is using the IntelliCulture platform to make sure that they have commonality of data to try to have a little bit better tracking across sites. You will hear later on in the summer Some of the other innovation farms will be giving presentations. So Area XO in Ottawa, as well as Emily out in Manitoba. They both have projects with the Oz robot that they're working with Haggerty on. So it'll be neat for us to be able to showcase the Oz robot in a few different environments. The other project that you have heard a lot about, obviously because you're part of the working group, is the Agrirobotics Working Group, which is funded by OMAFA through the Sustainable Canadian Agricultural Partnership. And so this is the network that we have established that was started by Chuck, Kristen Obeid, and Ian McDonald. And it is to essentially have a network for growers, for startup agrirobotic companies, for investors, and for business and education to come together and collaborate to better the ecosystem in Ontario primarily, but as you'll see as we grow across the country as well. So for the working group, I've mentioned this before, but just in case for any new members that have joined since our update a few months ago, there's kind of 7 key pillars for that. So our agrirobotics network that we run, the website and communications, making sure as much as possible we can connect people that want information, as well as having the information available in an easy to use format. Applied research at the commercial field scale level. So you might have heard Dan's mention last week that we're now looking, or we're just reminding people to start thinking about what research you might be interested in running next summer. I will provide a little bit more information towards the end of today's presentation, but that is a key component for both projects, is having research that we are running at the field level. Demonstrations and events, so we'll touch base on the demo days that just happened in July. Mentorship of Ontario startups. So this is primarily being provided at the moment through RHA Ventures and Joe Dales, but having a network for companies that are starting out. To Graham's presentation a few weeks ago, you know, it is a very hard ecosystem when you aren't just competing against Ontario-based companies, you're competing against the best of the best. So as much as we can do to provide support for them, if that's connections, if that's funding, if that's an ecosystem, that's what this is involved. And then our annual report and long-term sustainability. So with the funding that's in place currently, there's a few more years available for that, but looking forward to future steps for the team, making sure that we can continue with this network and that it's providing value to the industry. So meeting updates, obviously you guys are here. We appreciate you being part of the meeting. We generally have a weekly meeting attendance of 70 people. We have about 468 members now in the Agrirobotics Working Group, which is a fantastic number if you think about, I think it was 2021 when Chuck and Ian and Kristen started the working group. So we've seen fantastic growth, and across the events and across LinkedIn or that kind of thing, we've had very good support from people, connecting people in with the working group. So big thank you to everybody that has been doing that. It's very much appreciated, and you're always more than welcome to continue. We also have every week, generally, we focus on having a speaker that is from a different area of the agrirobotics ecosystem. But I did want to give the opportunity now for anybody that has feedback on a certain type of speaker that they would like to see more of. That could be, I want to see more investor type speakers, or I want to hear from more growers. So I will open it up for feedback at the moment. If you feel that there is something that we have not had as much focus on, please let us know. You can either let us know in the chat, or you can turn your mic and camera on.
I'll go Bridget if everybody's thinking. I'd like to see more interaction with the actual robotics companies, the founders and the founders on the business side, and then their technology people on the tech side. You know, when we're at 468 members, if that firepower in that group can support Upside Robotics or you know, Korechi or you know, Conrad, we want to bring all the smart people to supporting them. So I think that's where, if we can have our founders, you know, regularly present, maybe it's not the full session, maybe it's a 10-minute update on here's what's going on with Upside, bing, bing, bing. I think that will be creating tremendous value to those groups because they're very small typically, and they have limited resources. And so if we can leverage, the smarts, the experience, the networks, the just infrastructure of that 468 members, I think that'll be valuable.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. And I see some of those companies are on the screen at the moment. And to your point about it, if it doesn't have to be a full presentation, if I know at this time of year everyone's really busy, like if it would be just a 5-minute update or a 10-minute update even, does that work for those companies? I'm just to kind of get your feedback as well. I know Conrad's here.
Would love to. Would be a very good idea. Would love to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Conrad. Anyone else? Let's see. It's on here. I don't know if anyone from Upside is on the call at the moment.
Yeah,
I
there's a
don't
couple
see
of good
them.
points in the comments that I'd echo from Leah and Laura there about growers.
Do you think it would be helpful if it was almost like a part on the agenda that we say, like, now we're going to open up to, so that it doesn't feel like if someone doesn't necessarily have like a presentation ready, but they're like, I can provide a 5-minute update. Conrad, I'm picking on you because you're kind of our representation at the moment, but is something like that might work better around scheduling?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Actually, it would be nice to just to run the comments here in the chat as well to say what are new things in the robotics or what experiences are with robotics right now. It could also be growers who feedback and say, we've tried this or we've been running this the last 2 weeks and that's what we have found and so on. These are all very valuable information that we would love to have. We could provide an update just saying, it's okay, we're at this stage now, we have completed this and this part of it. I think it would be very valuable, yeah. But I think it should go both ways between growers and robotics companies, basically, to get both feedback. But it could be a standing item, like Joe suggested, to have a standing item to say every time we get some feedback and some updates on where things are right now at the moment.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, we can add that in. Berla?
It's San Michelle, Bridget.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I think you have a real good question. How can we be a little bit more dynamic? So just for people who might not know me, I'm more on the science side and science and policy. And we have always this question in our head, how we can connect the players in innovation. And so what my worry is, we have great presentation in that working group, and then they disappear in the background, and you have newcomers who don't know about the past information. So how can we improve that would be great. Because again, it's a matter, I know we are bombarded by information for sure, but if we can have a repository of some kind of what has taken place in the past, and then even for the industry to update their presentation or whatever would be super nice, I think. Would be super helpful.
Awesome. Yes, I will actually give 2 updates on that. They are in progress at the moment, but Joe has been on my case in a good way about this for the last few months. As we've had a lot of really good presentations, right now they're all stored on our website, but it's not the most user-friendly format and it's not searchable by category. So one of the things that Dan and our summer student are in the process of doing is switching how they're displayed to be tagged so that if it's a specific type of presentation, people can search both on the website and or through YouTube to look up presentations that are of that kind. And then the other thing that we've talked about doing is right now we provide a speaker update. I think it's on Tuesdays, usually on LinkedIn, on who's going to present for this week, but we don't provide an update when the video is actually posted. So something our team is going to have is once that cataloging is all done, generally, we don't post the videos until 6 weeks afterwards because we want as much as possible people to join the meetings and be here. But what we're going to most likely have starting is at the end of the week, it will be if you didn't catch this presentation, it's now up available on our website or on YouTube, tagging that person again as well, which is a little bit more. Say it's a startup company, it gives them a bit more exposure for that. But then also if someone's like, oh yeah, I meant to connect with so-and-so, they can do that.
Yeah.
So that's very good feedback. And that is something that we're in the process of switching over.
And if I continue as well,
Yes, go ahead.
I know that if the companies come to present, they want to come sell their products to producers. Kudos to them. But at the same time, some of them SMEs, if they want, or startups, if they want to have the help of scientists to develop new products or new extension, following my attendance to that working group, we are helping now. So Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, we have about 460 scientists. And now we are helping 3 of these presenters to develop new kind of products. So if they put a tag, willing to help, need help for this, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
We appreciate you and Juliana and AAFC stepping up. So good feedback.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Giuliano, I can't tell if if it's just your mic or if you were looking to speak.
No, that's fine. I put a comment in, so I'm
Okay.
good.
Sandra.
Sandra, you're muted.
We still can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I know. It keeps changing. I just, by the way, I first want to say I love this group. I think this is a fantastic way to bring together the ecosystem. And I keep asking myself how we can replicate this model in other industries, because I think it's so powerful to bring everyone together. I am from IRAP, NRC IRAP. So the one suggestion I will have is, I think there is an opportunity also for some of the organizations that are funding innovation, that are supporting innovation, to come and share what our services are, whether it is Global Affairs Canada, whether it is IRAP, whether it is OCI, maybe even FedDev, just talk about what is it that we can do, because there is so much we can do for some of the members here that are developing innovation, that are developing technology, but we really, I mean, if you go to our website's terrible. You don't see any of that, right? But sometimes we can share in person what is that we do, and how can we support people? How can they get in touch with us? So that's something I also wanted to add, obviously, not to take away the focus from, the people developing the technology and the growers, who are the people that will benefit from it. But I think maybe once every 2 months, having an organization share what they do and what they can do to help will be a good idea.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandra. And yeah, as you were speaking, I was just taking a quick peek at the chat. And I see that there's a lot of people looking on a panel side with growers and that kind of thing. But I think there's a way we could probably do both. Like maybe if we did have a panel with more growers or more startups, they kind of talk about their challenges and that kind of thing. But then we have the opportunity for the industry to kind of say, well, here are the supports that we have available, because sometimes people may not realize that there is that connection there. And I think that would be good for us to kind of have a little bit more opportunity for that. Ian.
There we go. Yeah, I think the last 2 points are great. I think it would be nice to have as short presentations, maybe not the full length presentations, but sort of case studies of how like a company, a funder like IRAP or OCI or someone like that, and a support organization. Like I thought the presentation from Vineland was great for this, kind of doing a case study where it's like, okay, if you're a company and you need the support, here's how we put together our group. Here was the successful outcome. Like, here's how you can sort of structure a similar collaboration. Because I think sometimes it's not just knowing that these supports exist, but it's also like, how do I put these supports together to actually have something come out the other end of that sort of activity?
To your point, Ian, are you thinking almost like more of like a workshop, or more of like just a kind of like at the end being like, here's a snippet of where we did have this funding, these were the successful applicants, but here are why they were successful, that kind of thing?
I was thinking more like similar to what you'd mentioned earlier about sort of like the actual companies doing updates. But part of that update might be, you know, we completed a successful project where we were connected with IRAP, we were connected with this other organization and us. You know, we had this problem with the funding from IRAP and with the expertise from this organization. This is how we move past that. And almost sort of like little case studies of how these combinations and these collaborations work effectively, and then they become sort of a model if someone has a problem and they know that there's funding out there and they know that there's expertise out there, but they don't know how to put those things together. That kind of gives them that roadmap a little bit.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Ramsey?
Hi, everyone. Just a quick introduction. I'm Ramsey Asfour. I'm the Associate Director at the Engineering Labs Research Institute at Queen's University. We're about 40 researchers and 100 plus graduate students working on projects related to robotics and AI. I put in the chat, we have a couple big events coming up in October. They kind of hit the points of the last three speakers between Joe, Bridget, and Ian. The Robotics Council is it's a group that's advocating for the domestic adoption of robotics. They're basically a grassroots movement of the Canadian robotics industry from across the country. There are healthcare robotics, field and service robotics, marine robotics. The big players in the country are part of that group, from ClearPath to Automotors to Kinova Robotics in Montreal. The symposium is basically a way to gather everyone together and talk about industrial needs that will help the Canadian economy here. I know Hallie Siegel, the CEO of the CRC, had a chat with Dan Woods about potentially having an agricultural robotics roundtable. This would be a format that would, Bridget, for example, would be a place for people to gather and talk about what the industry needs and have different policymakers and
Bridget
technologists.
runs Western District or whatever it is.
Pardon me?
Oh, it's okay. You can keep going. I know that Dan is working on that, but we work together. He's just not here today, but you
Yeah.
can keep going. It's all good.
Yeah, it's a way for people to gather. There's an early bird fee right now. It's about $300 to sign up for it, and there's preferred rates for hotels here in Kingston. Our symposium is the day after, so you get to hit two events in one. Our symposium is free. We are having a keynote speaker that's going to talk about human robot interaction. We're having a robotics debate. Do we need a robotics strategy here in Canada or not? And we're having an AI debate about whether or not AI is hitting a wall, or if there's more frontier development coming. And there's a big networking session in the middle. We're expecting to have corporate exhibitors. So it's another chance to network and meet some people. So, given, Joe, Bridget, and Ian talked about, more connections with industry, roundtable discussions, and case studies. All those three features are available at those two events. If the CRC comes up with a case study for agricultural robotics, I think that would be a win for this group. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that. Please check it out, and we'll hope to see you here in Kingston in the fall.
Awesome. Yes, thank you for sharing, and we'll include that in the upcoming events for the agenda. And I will mention too, I think we had reached out to Hallie to see if she actually could do a presentation at one of our upcoming meetings as well. So I think Dan was working with her on that, but I will connect with him next week when he's back. Ramsey, there also is a question in the chat for somebody that's looking to connect with you. You want to throw your email in there? All right. I'm going to give the opportunity for one more person just before we move on to the next little part. There is more discussion as part of today's meeting. So I see Keith has raised his hand, and then we'll move on to the rest of the conversation, but we can come back to this topic as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bridget. I'll keep it short. And no, I just wanted to thank everyone for having us on these calls. But I find that sometimes what really works really well when you're having discussions about something that is you know, it could be quite futuristic and it could be quite game changing when people have kind of been doing things the same way for many, many years, especially with robotics and things like that. Whenever I go into meetings now, and I found the most successful thing, and I look at this as just a very large meeting with maybe 500 people that could potentially be there. We all have ideas, and I don't know if maybe if we carved out maybe 5 minutes for use case brainstorming, right? So it's like, oh, here's a great use case. Here's a great need, a great business problem, a great business challenge that we'd like to solve, let's say, by using robotics or using, let's say, a vision system, an automated AI vision system because there's so many different growers here that have so many different unique problems, business problems that they'd love to solve, but they just don't have an avenue to voice. Say, I wish I had a robot that could do this, or I wish I had, a vision system that could hook up to my computers that would do, this certain activity. I don't know. What do you think about that? I'll throw it out to the group. If maybe, I know we have 5 minutes a day where we talk about investments and big things, and we spend a lot of time on these presentations, which are really, really great. But I think what people get really excited about robotics, they think about what's the use case that the real life challenge. Is it picking out apples with a hand, with a robot hand? And has that worked for anyone? Oh, Vineland's done it. Yes, we did it and it's working. Like, what stage are people at in their robotics journey, in their vision journey? And then who needs help with it? And then there's a lot of vendors on the call like myself that say, oh, we can help with that. We'd love to do it for free for you. We'd love to give you a free POC. We just want to we're hungry for a business challenge that a grower might have that say, we wish we could get help with making sure all these almonds are the exact same size, and making sure all these apples are the same size, and using robotics and using vision. And then I'd be able to sit up and stay and raise my hand and say, well, we'd love to help you and do that for free. Let's do a free POC. Let's see if we can solve your problem. And who knows, maybe you like the technology in the end, and maybe we're able to help all of Ontario and go across Canada. So what do you think about having kind of a use case brainstorm, session? Hey, this is what we're using robotics for. This is where it's working, or we need really help with this. And then some of the vendors on the call and say, hey, we'd love to help you with that. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. What does everyone else think on the call? If that's something we could maybe do, I don't know. I'm Keith Ellis from Vertical Data, by the way. Yeah, we do vision automation systems. My colleague Hamid was on and he did a presentation. Do you think that makes sense at all for anyone, or
I'm
it's
just going to
me?
give opportunity for anyone else that wants to say if they're open to it. You can either throw it in the chat or raise your hand.
Yeah, Keith, I mean, that's a really interesting idea. I think you need to throw economics into the equation, because if you have an infinite budget and you can buy a pair of robot hands that cost $20,000, but I mean, adopting robotics, there is an economic factor to it, as you can appreciate. So I agree with, the wish list, but we also have to, add the economics factor into it. There's the capital cost of the equipment as well as the operating costs. And so there's a model there that works, but I think we need to collectively as a group figure out what exactly that model suits the growers best.
I completely agree. It's all about prioritizing what is the most monetizable use case that could help them the most, save them the most money, save the most time with the minimal investment, right? Or or maybe maybe it doesn't make sense if it's too high of an investment for a minimal use case. Yeah, I'm just thinking use case brainstorming, get the blood flowing. We do this every Friday. Hey, I think this would be a great place for robotics in Ontario agriculture, for example. Does anyone have any ideas? And we just kind of have an open forum. But anyways, maybe I'm thinking too out loud, but I'll throw my email in the chat if anyone wants to keep going. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Brian Lynch is on. Let's do it. That's great. I'll just put my email in the chat. Would love to continue the discussion, guys. So sorry to. I think that we've got such a great group here. It'd be great if we were just trying to, we love solving problems, right? That's the most exciting thing. As much as we love the technology, it's about the use case. I call it use case brainstorming, which is all I do in all my meetings now. And it's the most fun. And that's where we come up with great ideas, and we find out the one that's most prioritized financially, obviously. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Yeah, if you want to kind of leave that to mull over in everyone's brains for a little bit, we might come back to this at another time as well. But definitely those who are interested, throw your information in the chat. I'm going to go back through the chat afterwards and just kind of go through anything that we've missed. I will also just throw out on the grower panel for any growers that are on today. Sometimes you are the hardest ones to have on a panel because of timing and everything. So if there is anyone that would be comfortable being on a panel, I know that that is something we're looking for. So please reach out to myself or to Dan so we can get you set into that. Okay, thanks everybody. That's very good feedback. I very much appreciate it. I do have 2 more feedback type questions for today, so we're going to move into those, and then we'll get back into the rest of the meeting for today's agenda. Make sure this. A few quick updates. So as we look into planning for next year, we did have our demo days this past July. So big thank you to the groups that were very instrumental in organizing those. So just have some information on the screen, just some feedback for people. So we had 66 attendees at the Bradford demo day, which was held in early July. 9% of them were producers. I just set a note on pre-registration numbers. We did have a lot more producers that had pre-registered that didn't come day of, so it could have been a weather and or timing issue. Technologies displayed were the Oreo, the Farm Droid, Piquetta, Eco Robotics, and BHF Robotics. Big thank you to Mary Ruth and her team for all their work with that. Haggerty Ag Robotics for all their effort in getting everyone organized, as well as STEM Mines and University of Guelph. Tyler was fantastic in getting some marketing out ahead of time for us. So big thanks to all of those individuals. We also had our Simcoe demo day on July 22nd. So we had 201 attendees at that event. 20% of them were producers. Technologies displayed, we had 10 technologies showcased in total. A big thank you to Torin Boyle, as well as Jason from his team for all their support with that event. Again, Haggerty, as well as our sponsors for that were University of Guelph and Finite Farms. So big thanks to them. Obviously, these were also overarchingly funded as under both programs, FCC as well as OMAFA. So this is just some pictures from the Bradford demo day for those who were not able to make it. It's kind of hard to see from the pictures, but it was actually very hot. It looks like it was overcast, and it was slightly, but it was a pretty hot day. We also have surveys that we send out after the event, and it's hard to always to get survey feedback. I'm sure the academics among you will tell me that this is not a representative sample, but it is the information that I got. So we got 9 responses to the survey that went out after the fact. Overall, positive event feedback, but some of the areas for improvement on demo days that we run in the future were some sending a little bit more of the agenda earlier, knowing the technology that's going to be available earlier. Also, just from a planning perspective, at this event in particular, there was a lot of driving around, and so that wasn't as obvious for somebody that had never been to the event before. So making sure that that's a little more user-friendly for future events that we look at. We also had the Simcoe demo day, so just again some pictures from that event. We actually broke everyone into 3 different groups for this event so that they could go around to all the stations just based on the attendance that we had anticipated. And a little bit of levity for the meeting. We did have everyone was still in the presentation at this point in time, but we did borrow Chuck's robot to help us with lunch delivery. So, whoops. Big thanks, Chuck. That made it a little easier to deliver all the subway to all the various locations. I do also have some feedback from the Simcoe demo day. So we had 42 responses to the survey following that event. I will say for both events, the feedback was overall very positive. It's more just like, how can we make this better for next year? One of the things that was identified was the sessions at this event were a little longer. They're about 1 hour and 15 minutes because we had 3 or 4 technologies showcased in each. But there was some feedback about if we make the sessions smaller, people move a little more, but also having a bit more seating available at different stations, just because they felt it was a long day of kind of walking around from station to station, which we probably didn't hear at Bradford because we were driving in between. So there was a little bit more of a break. Upcoming events that the working group and innovation farms will be at. So there will be a grape growers tailgate tour August 27th. That is not in the agenda yet because we don't have the registration link for it. But once we have that information, we will send it out. There's also Berry Growers Twilight Meeting at Howe Farms on September 4th. And Conrad mentioned this morning that they will be showcasing their technology at that event. So looking forward to seeing some of you there. I will mention if you are not a member of the Berry Growers, I believe that this meeting, the Twilight meeting, will have a bit of a fee. I think it's like $25 or $35 just to cover the supper cost. And then for those of you who visited us last year during the outdoor farm show, we had a booth display as well as a field demonstration. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chuck, but I'm pretty sure the plan is just to have the booth tent display this year. Awesome. Yes. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So we would love to see you there. I will mention we had a connection this week from a university researcher in New Zealand that actually came and talked to us last year at the Outdoor Farm Show. They are hoping to send somebody back again this year. And we're working with them on some presentation opportunities. Unfortunately, it's 1 a.m. in New Zealand time. So we're working on some times that would work out when they're here on vacation around Christmas time. But for them to actually do a presentation to the working group on a robotics center based there. So that's a pretty cool connection that we got from that event. And hopefully we'll see lots of you at those upcoming events. All right, so I kind of gave a whole bunch of information. Just wanted to throw out, again, another discussion opportunity for folks around the demo days. You may have noticed we've slightly transitioned our focus over the last year from not just being at all the trade shows, which we do have a presence at, but trying to organize our own events. So be that networking events such as the in-person meeting at the farm show or a little bit more hands-on demonstrations in the field, that kind of thing. So from those who've been to them or from those who haven't been because it's not fitting a need that they have, what would you like to see in the future? So I'll open it up for discussion again. Or if it's working, then we can keep going with what we're doing. Mike K, I'm not sure if you are trying to speak or if it's just pulling your camera, but we can't hear you if you are.
Hi, Bridget. It's Carrie Gates with Flowers Canada.
Hi, Carrie.
I would love to see a greenhouse tour, if that would be possible, and I'd love to help facilitate it as well. So if there was interest, I'd be thrilled to assist with that.
I would be happy to work with you to organize one.
Amazing.
I think in the past we have not done a lot of greenhouse stuff in the past just because it's like a whole nother level. And compared to the outdoor robotics, like some of the technology has been different. So we'll have to, as a steering committee, we'll have to talk about that. Just to, have some clarity on the indoor robotics. That opens it up into a whole another direction that we have not generally gone in the past.
Be part of that or lead that.
Sorry, Conrad?
No, I said I would love to be part of that greenhouse part of it, and definitely be very interested in that side of it.
All right, thank you. All right, any other tours or areas? The greenhouse one had come up because a few meetings ago there had been some discussion about people just wanting to actually see like in a site. So they, as a robotic company, they could be like, oh, I could see this problem I could solve. Kind of goes back to the point earlier about like having the grower wish list or like problems and how can we help you, that kind of thing. That's where the original kind of thought came from. Eric.
Just had a question for the group. Do we get involved do we create subcommittees if there's a specific policy opportunity that could be modified or something like that? Has the Agrobotics Working Group considered forming subcommittees to help address stuff like that?
I just want to clarify your question. Is the subcommittee to talk about like we've had people on the organization that have or on the group that have requested this and we're not doing it currently, or a subcommittee on policy?
It could be, well, it could be both. It could be a specific policy that the firepower that the Agrobotics Working Group has that could help address it. Or it could just be like a subcommittee that's trying to continuously apply changes to provincial or federal Canadian policy. Do we have like does the working group have like subcommittees at all?
We probably should do that, Eric. We haven't spent much time on policy yet. Chuck's probably been the one that's been seconded the most to get feedback from. But I think as the thing matures, it's probably something that we need to put in place. Any comments, Chuck? Sorry, Chuck might be signed off. Good idea though, Eric.
I was just thinking there's a lot of talented folks in this space, and I can't think of anybody else who'd be better to potentially address it. And that's probably something that the Canadian Robotics Association show in October, like connections like that could probably help address changes in the robotic space.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, we can put it together as like kind of just to see on the agenda and bring it up in a few more meetings just to see what kind of interest there is. I think I kind of understand where you're going. I might connect with you offline just to ask a little bit more, but I think too it'd be good to engage more of those industry organizations, but also for us right now, like a lot of the time agriculture isn't always on their radar. So we would want to still keep that core focus. But it is good to have those kind of connections and as much as possible, get the right people in the right places to advance the ecosystem.
Yeah, sorry, it was kind of a stream of consciousness thought, so sorry I didn't have that perfectly formulated, but I think hopefully you kind of understand what I'm getting at.
Yes, I do. Ramsey, I'm going to give you a quick opportunity to speak, and then we're going to go into the last quick overview one I have, and then we'll go in just because we're getting close to our time for today's meeting.
Yeah, no problem. It's just a thought. A lot of the discussions here are mimicking what's happened at the CRC before the CRC formed. So maybe I think as you chat with Hallie, with Dan, maybe agriculture is a subset of the CRC and it's a subset of the group specifically for agriculture, and you can build on what they've already done instead of starting to do things from scratch. So maybe that's something you want to chat with Hallie about a very specific area under the CRC umbrella.
How many members are in the CRC? Just so I have a bit of do you know that?
Well, there's a lot of people who are associated with it for the past 3 years. So in October, we're expecting 250 attendees for the event. But they're trying to build a sustainable business case. So they're trying to drive membership. So the official number is probably under 100, but they're in this, they're trying to create just a dedicated administrative body that can steward this and keep going rather than rely on goodwill and, social contributions from corporations to drive the agenda. I think they need staff. They need somebody dedicated to marketing and generating material to promote Canadian innovation in this space. Okay. So they're trying to create a sustainable business model. So a lot of
invite them to
get mature with this group, it's going to mimic what they're doing. So, my initial thought is why reinvent the wheel? Just work with them and maybe create a subset that's very specific to agriculture.
Okay, yeah, I think to Joe's point, maybe we'll have another roundtable discussion with them, like have a presentation from them, but then have a bit more of a conversation.
Yep.
All right. So I am just going to pause. This is fantastic. This has been a lot more conversation than I thought we would get. So I did have one more item to kind of go through with the presentation, but I'm actually going to close it out for a second because I do want to give the opportunity for the rest of the agenda for anybody that didn't get an opportunity to have any roundtable or events or funding opportunities. And I can come back to the other item next week if we don't get to it. Just want to switch this out. Okay, so thank you everybody for all your feedback thus far. I think this was very helpful for us as our planning. We're probably going to come back to you with a little bit more questions after the fact. I did just want to give some opportunities. So conferences, meetings, field tours, demonstrations. So we have the St. Clair Region SCIA Compaction Day, August 7th. I think that's Soil and Crop Improvement Association. Information and registration is in the agenda. We can also throw it in the chat if someone needs that. Twilight Berry Growers meeting already touched on. Agri-Food 2050 industry event in Niagara Falls through adaptcouncil.org, as well as the Chatham-Kent Career Day, November 18th. And I believe, Eric, we have had a reach out from the Chatham-Kent Career Day to have some robots demonstrated. Chuck did mention maybe just the timing with the weather.
Yeah.
But if anyone else is interested in being a part of that, please connect with Eric.
Yes, that'd be lovely. I sent a barrage of emails out last week, and I'll probably follow up on all those.
Excellent, thank you. Is there anyone else that has an upcoming event that is not currently on the agenda that you would like included? Garson, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, thanks, Bridget. We're just wondering if anyone from this group, a little bit of an early notice or early question, I guess, but Agritechnica this year in early November, we have an opportunity to attend. We're wondering who others from this group might be attending this year or have it on their radar this year as well. We understand that there might be a theme to Agritechnica this year, and that theme is Canada, whatever that all entails. So we're curious who in the group is attending, and whether or not we should participate ourselves this year. Is anyone going for sure?
I would love to say that I'm going, but I'm not.
It's actually going to be a very busy couple of weeks, so it'll be something we'd be squeezing in.
I do know some equipment dealers that are going. Vantage Farm Equipment in this area is sending a few people, but I don't know anyone else.
Right. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, everyone. If you are going, please let us know.
And if I will ask the same, and if you do end up going, I would love to send some flyers and information with you if you guys are open to that for the working group.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank
Thanks.
you. All right. Any other meetings, events that I missed that wanted to be on the agenda? Okay. We will move into the funding updates. So I wanted to give an opportunity for anybody with any funding announcements that are not already listed on the agenda. We did get a lot of you reach out with the Seeding Digital Skills program. It's a free 12-week online training program to help businesses adopt digital tools. So that one has kind of been going around because I think it's closing soon. But if there is anyone else that didn't have the opportunity to put their funding in, please let us know. Okay. As a quick reminder, we do have a job board on the Ag Robotics Working Group website. There is a posting up for my role, which closes today. But if you have any other positions that you're looking for, please let us know and we can disperse them through there. And now I will move into the round table. So was there anyone that had anything that they wished to share with the group that they haven't had an opportunity to speak to yet? Okay. I do have one that came up, two actually that came up this week on our end. So we had a company reach out that does a chicken robot. It's one that goes along the litter and essentially is assisting in the barn with that. They are looking for manufacturing connections that would help them assemble the kits together. So they said they're doing testing in Mildmay area at the moment, but they're looking to ship about 5 kits to somebody and just have them assist with building. And they did one throughout. They don't have a huge budget at the moment. But I just said I would mention it in the group in case there is anyone that is interested in connecting. I would be happy to give their information. The company is called Avid Bots.
The Avid bots?
Avid Bots, yep.
So they're looking to provide like the cleaning aspect. Is that what it was?
I think it's a sensor platform on a robot.
Just trying to grab it out of my email. He did have a little video, but I might just throw it in the agenda for next week and then you guys can take a look at it.
Yeah, Brian, I think it's an extension of what they currently do indoor.
Yeah. I've tried engaging them in the past to look at, hey, do you guys want to clean up greenhouse floors? Because you can see their robots in Walmart and shopping malls washing the floors all the time. Great company. I almost
Roomba.
a co-founder, and I just wasn't in that mentality at the time.
Oh. Do you want me to connect you with the person now or do you just leave it, Brian?
Oh, I mean, no, it's fine. It's fine.
No, okay.
I'm connected with them a bit. I don't know if I would be like poultry is not
your thing.
Not fine.
Were you talking to Pablo, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll ping him.
But like I don't have anything to control. It just piqued my curiosity because it was shot at the name.
I'm surprised they need help manufacturing. I mean, they got a whole production line on their
like
robots.
yeah, exactly.
This is really curious. I'm in touch regularly with Pablo. I'll just ask him.
It was not Pablo that reached out to me, but Ramsey, I'll connect with you after the meeting.
Sounds good.
Great. Only other note is, so I did mention the fellow from New Zealand that was interested in presenting to the working group. We are most likely going to just try to schedule it around Christmas time, when they will be in the country. But just so I have an idea for future, are folks open as long as we gave you 2 or 3 months notice? If we ever did have somebody else that's international where we did like a 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock PM meeting on a Friday, is that something that would be of interest to people, or is 9 AM really like the time that's always available in your calendars?
For special guests, just, I think we can organize it and people show that want to, Bridget.
Okay.
With my feedback anyways.
Yeah, I see lots of thumbs up, but there isn't a thumbs down option. So I'm going to assume that works for everybody. If it doesn't, please let us know. We've done it once before, but with a lot of notice. So ideally, we'll hopefully be able to schedule them in. But again, Christmas time is always hard because people may be away. So we do want to give the opportunity for them to have a good group. Awesome. Okay.
Poll. Next meeting, maybe.
All right.
Okay, awesome.
I will let you know once I've connected
Welcome
them.
everybody on Friday afternoon, on this sunny Friday afternoon. So thanks to
All right.
Sorry, that was me. I apologize.
That's okay. For anyone that threw something in the chat or sent a message, I do apologize if I haven't gotten to you. Some of them are just the note takers, but I will connect with you after the meeting if you have questions. There is a question about the position that's posted for my role. It's the project manager role that's on our website. So that's for the working group as well as for our owned and operated ag shows. So I will send that to the person that requested information on it. And if there is nothing else, the other thing that we had to kind of mention for today was the student competition. We did hear back the first round of draft for it, but I will put some time to it for next week when we have a little bit more time for a discussion. So if there isn't anything else from anybody, I'll give it a few more minutes if you do have anything else to throw out. Otherwise, we will wrap up for this week. Okay, we will call it a wrap for this week. Thank you, everybody, for joining the meeting today. And for all those that contributed to the discussion, very helpful to us as we plan for future. And if there is anyone in the chat that I missed, I will go back and connect with you afterwards. And everyone, I hope you have a great long weekend. And if you get a long weekend, and we will see you next Friday.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Bridget.
you.
Here.
Bridget, bye, everybody.
Thanks,